Hi everybody, welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Terry Stiles with my co-host again, Jim Hughes. And in this week's news, rezoning plan divides village residents, and student debt relief for all Oakland County residents, and tips and tricks for the August 6th primary. So sit back and stay tuned because the Oxford News begins right now. The Oxford Village Council recently voted to approve rezoning Washington Triangle, a change that could lead to over 30 new townhouses. The Washington Triangle site is located northwest of the intersection between Minnetonka Drive and Mechanic Street near the Oxford Veterinary Hospital and the Dental Center of Oxford. At the July 9th Village Council meeting, the Oxford Village Council voted 3-1 to approve rezoning the area from single-family residential use to multifamily use. The vote came about after the Village Planning Commission recommended the rezoning during a meeting on June 18th. The issue will now be sent back to the Planning Commission for review. If the Planning Commission approves the change and a development proposal goes through, up to 32 new townhouses could be built in the area. Four residents voiced their opinions during the public comment at the council meeting. Residents are divided over the issue, with some expressing concern over increased traffic and space for emergency vehicles, while others argue townhomes are more environmentally friendly, increase walkability, and would bring in more tax revenue to the village. The Planning Commission's next meeting is Tuesday at 7 p.m. at Oxford Village Hall. Jim?
This week, new principals began their journeys across the district. The Oxford Leader reports that Mary Sunzalo joined the Oxford Crossroads Day School this past Monday. That was on July 29th. According to Executive Director of Communications for the Oxford School, Christine Smith, Sunzalo came to the district from Wayne Memorial High School. Smith says that Sunzalo brought extensive experience from her many years of working in public high schools and in large districts with a variety of complex programming. Says that the new principal's experiences and creative solutions and innovative programming match the current needs of Crossroads. She will serve in multiple capacities at Wayne, and she also has currently been an approved candidate for a dissertation at Concordia University, Chicago. She earned a Master's of Arts in Special Education from Eastern Michigan University. She also holds a Bachelor of Science in Industrial Technology, Education, and History from Western Michigan University. She earned her administrative certificate through the MASS PP Path to Leadership. Congratulating her on her new endeavors. Terry.
So in this next story, it's kind of a warning for people that want to go swimming this summer. Two separate young adults have drowned in the Oakland County within a week of each other. On July 16th, a 21-year-old Highland Township man drowned while swimming in Townsend Lake in Independence Township. The man was swimming with a friend when he unexpectedly went underwater and did not resurface. The Oakland County Sheriff's Search and Rescue Team was dispatched to the incident at approximately 1:40 p.m. The man was located 100 feet from shore shortly after 2 p.m. Paramedics from the Independence Township Fire Department performed life-saving measures, but he was taken to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced deceased. Then on July 21st, a 20-year-old Detroit man drowned while swimming in Taylor Lake in Rose Township. The young man was part of a moving crew who was assisting a resident with the move. The homeowner then allowed the crew to go on a boat to relax during a break. Two men jumped into the water and one did not make it to the boat. At least 25 divers from various counties responded to assist the sheriff's office in the search. The search lasted more than 13 hours and he was located 300 feet from shore. Following the incident, Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard encouraged people to have a personal flotation device on if they're not strong swimmers or have been drinking alcohol, as the county has seen numerous drownings this summer. That certainly wasn't the first two. Jim?
An Oakland County man has been charged with the killing of an on-duty Melvindale police officer. A 44-year-old Michael Lopez was arrested in the 3400 block of Gilbert Street in southwest Detroit on Monday. The shooting occurred a day earlier while the 23-year-old officer, Mohammed Sahad, was responding to suspicious individuals on a suspicious individual call. According to the police, Sahad approached Lopez, who then ran after in pursuit. Sahad tased Lopez, and Lopez then pulled out a gun and shot the officer. Lopez was paroled on June 22nd, less than a month before the Sunday shooting, and had previously served 12 years for carjacking and assaulting an officer. Lopez faces 12 charges. The Detroit Free Press reporting that the colleagues, friends, and residents are reeling over the loss of the officer, who is said to be involved member of the Melvindale community. Todd, the fourth officer killed in line of duty in Michigan alone this year. Sad story there, Terry.
Very sad. Oakland County has established a student debt relief initiative that allows all residents and employees to qualify for free aid services. The Oakland County Board of Commissioners adopted a resolution at its July 18th meeting to allocate up to $500,000 for the program. The program partners the county with Savvy, a social impact company and Washington, D.C. based tech startup company. Savvy is dedicated to lowering student loan payments and facilitating the loan forgiveness process for borrowers. Oakland County residents and employees will have access to one-on-one support with student loan experts at Savvy to navigate tracking, repayment, and forgiveness options. Oakland County Commissioner Brendan Johnson said that reducing student debt is a crucial step towards promoting economic prosperity and alleviating financial stress for residents. Oakland County has more college-educated residents than any other Michigan county, and the board estimates that roughly 172 residents carry $6 billion in student debt. Board of Commissioners Chairman David Woodward said the initiative will help residents save millions of dollars that are then freed up to help support the local economy. The program will begin in the fall. That's good for students. Jim?
You can do your part to keep our special watershed clean. Oxford is definitely part of the Clinton River watershed, a 60 square mile area comprising thousands of lakes, ponds, wetlands, marshes, and bogs. All the water in this river basin drains into one common body, Lake St. Clair, so many activities done in the Oxford area can actually impact the health and contamination levels of the fresh waters and beaches all over the area. To keep harmful bacteria out of the Clinton River watershed, Council is spreading out a message about watershed-friendly animal tips. Annual waste contains E. coli bacteria. On an average, goose who poops once every 11 to 12 minutes. Feeding geese and other waterfowl is an invitation for those animals to stay and overpopulate, creating unsafe swimming and boating conditions. Excessive waste can also cause algae blooms and hazardous areas to not only humans but other animals in the area. To keep the harmful bacteria out of the lakes, rivers, and beaches, and the Watershed Council recommends not treating geese and ducks as pets. Pet waste is another risk. Dispose of it promptly and properly. Pick up your pets before the lawn. Watering is always a good idea. Getting rid of the poo. Terry.
That's a good tip. Early voting for the August 6th primary election began this past Saturday. Starting this year, Michigan's voters have the option to vote in person 9 consecutive days before the election, from the second Saturday before the election to the Sunday before the election. The change was made after Michigan voters passed an initiative in November of 2022. The initiative amended the state constitution and made several election-related changes. Early voting is similar to absentee ballots. Both forms allow voters more flexibility with time at which they cast their vote. There are 2 early voting site options for those in Oxford. The regional early voting site is the Oxford Township Municipal Building that's the Orion Township Municipal Building at 2323 Joslyn Road in Lake Orion. All voters in Oakland County can use the central early voting site at the Waterford Oaks Activity Center in Waterford. Early voters can come in and cast their ballots anytime from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., except on Thursday, August 1st, when the hours are from noon to 8 p.m. OCTV reporter Allison Miller sat down with Oxford Township Clerk Curtis Wright last week to discuss these changes and more details that residents should know before the election day. To view that interview, visit the Oxford Community YouTube page. Those who have further questions can contact the Charter Township of Oxford Clerk's Office at 248-628-9787 and ask for Curtis Wright. Jim?
In our Behind the Lens segment, always happy to have that. All Paws Safety Pup was a top dog when he visited the concerts in the park in the downtown Oxford area. Safety Pup is the nationally recognized national safety mascot. The National Child and Safety Council Safety Pup works with the Oxford Police Department to help educate the community about safety. He had so much fun at the concert on the 18th of July that he said it was too rough to leave. Our writer Allison, she threw that one in. Good job, Allison.
That was good, Allison.
Good to have her back.
Yeah, it is. I appreciate that.
Good stuff there. We have more coming up. I know you have the last story, and I'll have sports, and we have Dave Kenny. He'll have a segment or two. Again, you're watching this edition of Oxford News This Week.
1 in every 500 African Americans in the U.S. suffers from sickle cell disease. 1 in 3 African American blood donors is a match for patients with sickle cell. 1 appointment to donate blood with the American Red Cross can help save a life. Will you be that 1? Visit redcrossblood.org/ourblood today to schedule an appointment at a location near you.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from Automotive News. General Motors will delay production of electric pickups at its Orion assembly plant until mid-2026, pushing back the start date 6 months as the automaker adjusts its electric vehicle investments to slowing consumer demand. GM will also defer Buick's first EV, which CEO Mary Barra said had been planned for 2024, though she did not offer a new timeline on a July 23rd call with analysts to discuss the company's second quarter financial results. As excited as we are about our portfolio, we are committed to growing responsibly and profitably in any demand environment, Barra said. Over the next few years, third-party forecasters now see EV market growing steadily but more slowly than it did over the last few years. As a result, we are adjusting our spending plans to make sure we are capital efficient and moving in lockstep with customers, she said. GM originally had planned to retool its Orion plant to come online early in 2025 to build electric Chevrolet Silverados and GMC Sierras after production of the Chevrolet Bolt EV and Bolt EUV ended there last year, but later pushed out the timeline until late 2025. The automaker has said it intends to invest $4 billion at the factory for electric pickup production. We're confident that we can meet customer demand for standout EV trucks in the interim by leveraging the production capability and flexibility we have in Factory Zero, the Detroit plant that currently builds the Silverado EV and soon the Sierra EV, Barra said. We also continue to take advantage of the flexibility we have to mix production between internal combustion engines and EVs at key plants. Buick has said its first EV was likely to debut in 2025, though that was before the Biden administration this year quadrupled tariffs to 100% on EVs imported from China to the U.S. Buick builds and sells 2 EVs in China, the Electra ES crossover and the smaller Electra E4, but has not commented on any potential tariff effects or product plans. Barra also said that GM's Ultium Cells LLC joint venture with LG Energy Solution is ramping up supply of the automaker's Ultium-based battery cells currently in production near Lordstown, Ohio, and in Spring Hill, Tennessee. But that additional capacity will come in a measured cadence. GM CFO Paul Jacobson declined to comment on a call with reporters about whether 2 other battery plants, an Ultium Cells plant in Michigan and a joint venture with Samsung SDI in Indiana, are on hold. We are focused on scaling up at Spring Hill and continuing to keep Lordstown operating very efficiently, and we've been very pleased with the scale economics that we've gotten there, he said. The automaker reduced its EV production target for this year because of lower than anticipated demand. GM now says it expects to build 200,000 to 250,000 EVs this year instead of up to 300,000 from Chevrolet, GMC, Cadillac, and its BrightDrop commercial electric brand. GM built and wholesaled 75,000 Ultium-based EVs in the first half of 2024, outpacing customer sales by roughly 2 to 1, Jacobson said. While that is common with new vehicles to build up availability and awareness, he said, GM will balance production if it continues. The company has ramped up EV sales after battery module production constraints held back output last year. U.S. second quarter sales of 21,930 EVs were up 34% from the first quarter and 40% from a year earlier, the company said. Barra said about 54% of GM's EV customers are new to the automaker. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
And welcome back to Oxford News This Week. In sports, a helping hand to play ball. The Miracle League of North Oakland is a nonprofit organization providing safe and fun baseball programs for children and adults with special needs. To make the program happen, the league supports a wide variety of volunteers, including groups through the Miracle League Buddy program. Buddies are paired with players and are able-bodied friends who can assist players on and off the field. During the game on July 13th, one of the volunteer groups was the Oxford Wildcats fast pitch team. All 3 games that day miraculously ended in ties. It was also a picture-perfect day for the teams to get some great snapshots of the players and volunteers involved. And they're doing a good cause by supporting the league. That's our sports story there. I want to congratulate this year's senior softball league. That wrapped up the other day. You'll be seeing that game on OCTV. Also, the U10, 12, and 14. We cover those 2 all through the summer just so we can have some sports for you. And I still invite you. A lot of great baseball still happening up until the fall season. USPBL, the organization at the Jimmy John Stadium over in Utica. We made a deal with that baseball organization, and we do broadcast them on the weekend. It's great baseball, 4 teams, and they play some solid baseball. Catch it here on any one of our many platforms. Coming up in our last story today, Terry Stiles will have that from the Charter Township of Oxford, the Facebook page for predicting many things happening. Terry will have that. You're watching OCTV. We'll be back in a moment.
On October the 4th, my daughter was diagnosed with a rare malignant rhabdoid tumor on the spine. When I received the diagnosis with my daughter, my hope was gone. When we first made it to St. Jude, my baby couldn't sit up on her own at all. The tumor had pressed up against her spine to the point where it basically paralyzed her. She couldn't feel her feet or anything like that. And just to see her start to make those steps after treatment, take your time, one step at a time.
Take my time. Take my time.
We rise up.
Good job, baby.
I like the way I rise up. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up. Head down. Do it 1,000 times again.
It was just like a miracle. It was amazing. I was like, thank God for St. Jude.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. A newly identified brain pathway in mice could explain why placebos, or interventions designed to have no therapeutic effect, still relieve pain. Developing drugs that target this pathway may lead to safer alternatives to pain medications like opioids. If someone unknowingly takes a sugar pill instead of a pain reliever, they still feel better. This placebo effect is a well-known phenomenon in which people's expectations lessen their symptoms even without effective treatment. Our brain on its own is sort of able to fix the pain problem based on the expectation that a medication or treatment might work, says Gregory Shearer at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. To understand why the brain does this, Shearer and his colleagues replicated the placebo effect in 10 mice using a cage with 2 chambers. One chamber had a burning hot floor, while the other didn't. After 3 days, the animals learned to associate the second chamber with pain relief. The researchers then injected the rodents' brains with a molecule that causes active neurons to glow when viewed under a microscope. They placed the mice back in the cage, but this time heated both floors. Although the chambers were now equally hot, the animals still preferred the second one, displaying fewer pain symptoms, such as paw licking while there. They also had greater activity in neurons in the cingulate cortex, a brain region involved in pain processing, compared with 9 mice that weren't conditioned to associate the second chamber with pain relief. Further experiments revealed a pathway connecting these pain-processing neurons to cells in the pontine nuclei and cerebellum, 2 brain areas with no previous known role in relieving pain. To confirm this circuit relieves pain, the researchers used a technique called optogenetics, which turns cells on and off with light. This let them activate the newly discovered neural pathway in a separate group of mice placed on a hot floor. On average, these animals waited 3 times as long before licking their paws as those that didn't have the circuit activated, indicating they felt less pain. If this neural pathway does explain the placebo effect, that can open new strategies for drug development, says Luana Kalaka at the University of Maryland, who wasn't involved in the study. If we have drugs that activate placebo effects, that would be a wonderful strategy for pain management, she says. The obvious caveat is the placebo experience in humans is obviously much more complex than in mice, says Shearer. However, he still believes these findings will translate to people because rodents and humans have very similar pain pathways, and that's a good thing. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.
And And in our last story this week from the Charter Township of Oxford Facebook page, predicting showers and preventing fires. Meet Sarah Schultz, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service and firefighter at the Oxford Fire Department. Schultz recently moved to Oxford from Clarkston and joined the Oxford Fire Department as a paid on-call emergency medical technician. Wow, we're lucky to have her. After graduating from the Northeast Oakland Fire Academy in June, Schultz is officially a probationary firefighter. The 42-year-old is a native of Markesan, Wisconsin. Her fascination with weather from an early age led her to pursue meteorology, and she is now an observational program leader working with 50 cooperative observers across 17 counties. Her desire to always search for the next challenge in her life and her interest in the medical field led her to take 15 weeks worth of night classes to become an EMT. Schultz says it is really great to be a part of what she calls the phenomenal Oxford fire community. Wow.
Good stuff there.
Wow,
Yeah,
good for her.
She can do the weather here at OCTV. She's a meteorologist
cow.
too.
Yeah, maybe she wants to volunteer here too. Wow.
I think she got a pretty full plate, but we could.
She might.
And she was here. She walked to our
Yeah.
studio and everything.
Oh, so cool.
You'll
So
see that on some other
good
show.
for
Okay.
her.
But
Wow, totally impressive. I'm impressed.
and the segment that we've come to know and love, and we do not label. It's called "What is Terry listening to in the car this week?"
It's another one of William Kent Kruger's books
Yes.
about the Native American reservation in Iron Lake, Minneapolis,
Okay.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Again, another murder mystery kind of thing. I just
Okay.
love those.
You've been busting through those too.
And then I think I've listened to 23 books since January.
And
been fun.
and people can do that if they want to. How do they do that if they want to go do that locally? Maybe they're in
The library, go to your local library. It would be Oxford Township Library here or in Addison Township, that library, and
Yeah.
sign up for, it's called Libby. And that's audio download. You can download readable books or audio books through Libby for free.
and you can get it on the computer or on your phone or whatever.
Anywhere. Yep, anywhere that you
Now-
can download stuff, your tablet.
About 2 weeks ago or so, you were heading up north with the kids. Now, did you?
Didn't make it.
Oh, you didn't make it.
No,
okay.
we made a major left-hand turn in life, but
Oh, no, it's okay. I
I'm
gotcha.
going this weekend.
But remember what we said now. We said that you're not going to make them listen to anything in the car.
I did download some children's stories. So
They're not going to want to hear them, okay? What you want to let them do is let them play on their personal devices when they get to the camp.
and get rid of it.
Yeah. So
Good idea.
okay, I'm just throwing it out there.
We are going this.
I'm basing it on my 31 and 34-year-old who were 6 and 9 at the time.
Yeah.
I let them listen to their personal devices, and there wasn't
Yeah.
even many of them back then.
Right, it was like
And we went whitewater rafting, and they were like, the first day we got out of the car, and about an hour later, like, can we go get our? I go, no, we're putting those away.
Yeah,
We're whitewater
right.
rafting now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, so yeah, my son makes them put their tablets away when we go up north. I'm going with Cameron, Cameron,
Right.
and his wife Sierra. Today's her birthday.
Oh, good.
And my anniversary, and so we're going to celebrate that. And I've got somebody at home watching the dogs, and life is good.
There you go. Not bad at all. Well, there we go. Keeping on top of what Terry's listening to, and you can do that as well. OCTV, we're very happy about that. Can be viewed on many, many platforms. Spectrum Charter Channel 191, Channel 99, ATTU-verse. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, Amazon Fire Stick. I understand also where I watch, Roku, as well as many other platforms. If you have a show idea, maybe you'd like to volunteer at OCTV, give our office a call. The number is so easy, 248-628-9658. Ask for Dave or even Terry. A very special thank you to our producer, director, Kyle Snage, our news writer extraordinaire, Allison Miller, station manager, Terry Stiles, for everyone here at OCTV. I'm Jim Hughes, hoping you have a safe week. I invite you back next time. And again, we will take a look at Oxford News this week. Have a great week.
Be safe.